they would have a religious experience. I mean, some would, join the church. In some places, they would fall down and speak in tongues. A mysterious thing. Yeah, I mean, it's something really mysterious. And people have studied it. Some people claim, they found remnants of Greek or Hebrew or something, what person was saying. I don't know. But they were very exciting. And they would go on for, sort of like it'd be a week, every night you'd have these services. But anyway, I learned to preach more from hearing those people than from my father. My mother.
It's such a rich community.
Yeah.
It brings people together.
Oh yeah, I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
If I had not, my father had not been a minister in that town, in a black church, then I'd be, your ordinary white man like everybody else.
Bad luck.
Because that's how I was educated, brought up, and all like you in a small town, and But I had
small though.
How big was your town?
4,000.
Oh, sorry.
500.
Sorry, that's a rather small town. My town had 20,000.
Yeah.
Still has 20,000.
Big.
Where?
Probably more.
Tanzania.
Probably more, right?
What
It doesn't, never seems to grow.
Really stays the same.
What town?
Ansonia, Connecticut,
Ansonia, Connecticut.
the industrial heart of the Naugatuck Valley.
If you know where the Naugatuck.
And my daughter-in-law, Francia, comes from Shelton, Connecticut, among other places, which is part of the industrial heart of the Naugatuck Valley.
Yeah.
I just
And
think
they're
it's
not
amazing.
really- yeah.
I really thought there was only trees in Connecticut.
Again, see, that's the middle class views there. Industries, New England.
Yeah, New England.
The Naugatuck Valley powered the industries originally, I suppose. I mean, the Naugatuck
Connecticut
River.
River power from the river.
Yeah, but this is smaller. There's Naugatuck River, then there's the Housatonic River. That's the one where the Yaleys came and rode their boats.
And the derbies.
Yeah, did you ever go to Derby Day?
I never did, no.
I only went to these things when I was in graduate school.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have known anything about them.
Oh, they had these open trolleys that had come, and we'd all load into the open trolleys with beer in our hands and head out 12 miles to Derby.
To Derby.
Yeah,
Connecticut.
yeah, because they used to row.
They used to work.
It was called Derby Day.
They rode from New Haven to Derby?
No,
No, but the river.
no. What I mean is that that river, the Housatonic River,
Yeah.
was the place where they rode their shells.
Crews had their
Yeah,
practice
yeah.
every morning at 4:30 or 5 a.m.
Which is,
Yeah.
Anyway, your mother,
What can I
your
say
poor mother
about
gets
my
left out in this.
What else can I say about
She was
my
a
mother?
Christian, she was the head of everything, and
No, but she tended to get into those roles.
but the good news was
because
you
she
said
was
she was your
very-
friend.
Yeah,
And when she was widowed at 1936 and you were still 12 years old, brothers and sisters, how many did you have?
seems like I've done this before.
Yeah, but I'm now wanting to refresh.
I have a friend in California
I'm glad you have
who
one friend.
she used to live here. Now he's participating. And she's always, as I say, I'm a storyteller. She's always interested in my stories. Not only that, she remembers them. But she moved to California. And we were talking on the phone one day, and she said that she wanted to sort of interview me about my life. And she was going to record it. She's a very organized person. So every Wednesday at 12, my time, she calls me up. And we decided that we had to keep it to an hour. The first time it went more than an hour. So we try to keep it to an hour. And then one day she announced to me that she wanted to do it by decades, which bothered me
She's
a
not an
little.
anthropologist, huh?
Yeah, that bothered me because, that was interfering with the sort of spontaneity I thought. But it's interesting. So we've been doing it by decades.
And this goes on still?
Yeah, it's only been going on
It's
a
not
few
Judith
weeks.
Justice, it's somebody
Just
else.
going on a few weeks. No.
No, okay.
It's a person named Jennifer Ryan.
I don't know. her.
And so last time we talked was yesterday. Must have been Wednesday, yeah. And I wanted to go to my 4th decade because I was thinking about what I was doing in that decade, and I tried to write some things about it, but I never seemed to get finished. So I thought I could tell her about it, and I would have it done, But I never got to do that because we got into things like my siblings. That's why association. I had 3 sisters.
Yeah, you've talked about
Two-
sisters, I never heard you talk about your brother.
2 older sisters and 1 younger. But I should ask you, how old were you when your father died?
I can tell you.
Huh?
14.
Yeah, see, it's about like that. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of all the parallels. Your mother
Yeah.
and my mother both, the one thing, apart from nursing perhaps, that was open to their generation was teaching. And
That's right.
at that time, she went to Drake University, but she went to what would be a community college level. She was trained as a kindergarten teacher. And she taught.
I think it must have been like a normal school.
Yeah, yeah. And she was much as your mother was, not the wife of a pastor, because my father was an engineer. But she was devoted to the church, and the church was a centerpiece in her life.
That's
Of course,
what makes you such a
as I
splendid
no
person.
doubt told you many times, I just assumed that was the norm, that I would be a choir boy, and then a crucifer, and then an acolyte, and eventually a lay reader, and maybe like my brother, I'd go into the ministry.
Your brother is an Episcopal minister?
Yeah, he became a canon in the church,
Really?
England, whatever, we don't call it the Church of England. But anyway, yeah.
Is he still alive?
He died when I was in India, Bill.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Where did he live?
Well, he began his perishing in Barnesboro, Pennsylvania, a little cold.
Barnesville?
Barnesboro.
Barnesboro.
It's a long way from nowhere. But, we grew up in western Pennsylvania, and Bishop Perdue, who was the bishop who ordained him, said, well, we've got a spot out here, and he went.
That's interesting.
But he went to Yale.
He did?
Yeah. He was there when I was there.
He was?
Met the...
What class was he in?
He wasn't in the class. He was
Oh.
at theological seminary. He did his undergrad.
But he went to the divinity school at Yale.
Well, yeah,
In those days, that was a great place.
it was.
And it was the most
But
liberal
he had
part
a
of
lot of
Yale.
problems, and I won't get into that, but anyway.
But there was also an Episcopal seminary
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
where he was, I think.
Yeah.
I vaguely, I was, what, 16, 17, 18.
But they had some terrific teachers at the divinity school. Some
Anyway,
very progressive.
but I
Do you
was
have
listening as
other?
you were talking, and I was thinking, we've known each other for
Yeah.
how long? I hate to
Couple of years.
couple of years. And
Over
we never
60
probed
years.
into these. I just assumed these things in my innocence. I think some of my earliest recollections or conversations we had. What was the building? It wasn't my Attico building. What was the name of that building?
Probably was my Attico.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't my. And we,
Yeah, it was.
And there was something called a hot shop.
That was a chain
Chain
of restaurants in Washington.
And I remember we used to go and sit in hot shop, and they had huddles or bottles or something. Remember, we got 2 cups of coffee.
Well,
remember all that?
I'd forgotten that about the hot shops.
Yeah, the hot shop.
Yeah. Did you have other?
That's gotta be in the late 50s. Cause it was before I went to Laos.